Hey fasting fam, welcome back to the Fast Life with Chelly. If you're new here on this channel, I talk about losing weight with alternate day fasting and healthy lifestyle modifications. And in today's video, I'm going to be answering some of your top burning questions that you have about alternate day fasting. You ready? So grab your tea, your coffee, your electrolytes, whatever it is that you use to get through your fasting day, or if it's not a fasting day for you, sit tight because we're going to go through some of these top questions. And if you haven't already, check out the links in the description box to sign up for our weekly newsletter to get some insider tips, as well as our Fast Life private Facebook group where you can connect with other alternate day fasters who are serious about this health and wellness journey, as well as share your personal fasting successes, wins, stories, and get some motivation. All right, let's get into the questions. So the first question is, I'm new to alternate day fasting. How do I even get started with it without feeling overwhelmed? And my suggestion to you is ease your way into it. Now you can start cold turkey, just decide one day, I'm going to stop eating. But I find that that can be such a struggle and it can be hard to sustain. So just as a recap for those of you who may be new to alternate day fasting, what it means is you are fasting every other day or essentially 36 hours. So for instance, my schedule is I water fast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So maybe I'll eat on Sunday and then I'll have my last meal by maybe 7 or 8 p.m. I'll fast from Sunday, 7 p.m. all the way through Monday. No eating, just water, electrolytes, black coffee, tea, things with 0 calories, and then I'll eat again maybe Monday morning. So by the time that I break my water fast, it's been about 36 hours. So that's alternate day fasting, fasting every other day essentially, about 3 times a week. So to get to the question, how do you get started with alternate day fasting? I say start slow. So personally for me, before I started alternate day fasting, the week before, I started weaning myself off of junk food, so not eating the processed stuff. And before I was at my heaviest weight a couple months ago at 242, so I was eating a lot of junk food. I was overeating, eating cookies, cakes, chips, fried foods, rice, bread, although I'm not a huge rice fan, but I was eating a lot of carbohydrates and junk food and just eating too much of everything. So the week before I started alternate day fasting, I gradually weaned myself off of the junk food. I started incorporating more whole foods, unpackaged foods, so avocados, berries, protein like boneless, skinless chicken breast, ground beef, salmon, canned tuna, and green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale, just eating the colors of the rainbow and trying my best to eliminate all fried foods and processed foods. So the first step is trying to clean up your diet. And the reason behind that is because when you eat a lot of junk food, a lot of carbohydrates, all the chemicals and the sugars in the food can really make it hard to fast. It raises your blood sugar levels and it increases your hunger hormones. So going straight into alternate day fasting, while as I said, you can kind of power through it, but the likelihood that you would stick with it might be a little lower because you're coming from eating a lot of sugar. So then when you stop, your body's just desperate for the junk, desperate for the carbs. And so you might find that you're really, really hungry. So another thing you can do to help yourself get prepared for alternate day fasting is about the week before, even 2 weeks before, in addition to weaning off the junk food and the high carbs and incorporating more healthy foods, unprocessed foods in your diet, is get used to drinking more water. I personally do at least 120 ounces of water a day. And that's including the water I'm drinking and tea and coffee. Definitely before jumping into alternate day fasting, get used to drinking that water because that's really going to get you through. Also, a lot of times when we're hungry, or we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. So practicing getting in more water before you jump right into alternate day fasting is only going to help you. And then another big one is, although I mentioned that I fast now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you don't have to start like that. You can start with weaning the junk food, incorporating more water, then gradually decreasing your eating window to something more like intermittent fasting. And I know some of you have mentioned in the comments that you currently practice intermittent fasting. And I also started off like that, not only before jumping into alternate day fasting, but in my 20s. And that's how I kept the weight off then. It's just now mid 30s, that's not working so much for me now. I find that I end up going over my eating window. And so for me, alternate day fasting was just a lot more effective for weight loss currently for where I am in my stage of life, mid-30s. So yeah, you can start with intermittent fasting, and that's something like, I'll just give you one example because there's other eating windows, but using 16-8 as an example as intermittent fasting. So what 16-8 means is you have an 8-hour eating window, and then you have a 16-hour fasting window. And I'm just throwing out times here, so my hours might be a little off, but like, let's just say that you eat from 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, from 10 to 6, or from 11 to 7. So you have 8 hours in the day that you can pretty much, kind of eat what you want. But I still recommend healthy foods, whole foods, lower carb, no junk food or fried foods or things like that. No calorie heavy or sugary drinks. So you have that 8 hours that you can eat. And then you start off gradually, so 16 hours. And then you can even go to something more like 2 MAD or 2 meals a day from the intermittent fasting. And then you can go to 1 meal a day, although for some people that might seem extreme, but hey, once you do alternate day fasting, that 1 meal a day is a breeze actually. So my point is just gradually, if that is what works for you, you can gradually get into alternate day fasting, from eating healthy to eliminating the processed foods, eating a little bit of lower carb to keep your blood sugars on point, and lower it so that you're not as hungry. Increasing your water, it helps you stay a little bit fuller, keeps you nourished. Also, then you can go to cutting down on the times that you're eating. And then from there, let's say, you're ready for alternate day fasting and you're ready to attempt it. One little tidbit of info is that technically you can do alternate day fasting and you can go up to 500 calories a day. So there's a couple things. Let's say you jump right into ADF after what we talked about, the intermittent fasting, the water, the eliminating junk food. Now you're ready. So maybe you don't start off with 3 days a week of fasting. Maybe you say, hey, I want to try this. I'm just going to do 1 day. And then that goes well. Then you can add another day. And then maybe you're up to 2 days a week where you're doing that water fasting. So 2 fasts. And then you're like, wow, I'm ready. I'm going to do 3 days. And then you work your way up to that. And then also on your fasting days, you can technically have up to 500 calories. So maybe you start off just having that 500 calories the first day. Then the second day, maybe you have it. And then the third day, you try just completely doing the water. So there's a couple of ways that you can, work your way up to it. So don't completely discount alternate day fasting because you might think it sounds extreme, or you might think that you don't have the discipline to do it. There's always, a workaround. There's a way that you can make alternate day fasting work for you. All right, next question. Can I do alternate day fasting while still taking care of my kids and running my household, taking care of my family? And this one hits close to home because I am a parent myself. I have a busy life. I work, I have children, I have a house that I'm maintaining, I have 4 pets. Life never stops. So to answer the question, can you fast while taking care of your children, your family, your everyday life? Absolutely. Now, is it easy to start? No, but you can do it. Trust me, I can do it. If I can do it, having come from 242 pounds, tired, irritable, joint pain, kids on my back, pets, everyone wanting something from me, work demands, and I was able to hone in and do it. I truly believe that you can do it also. So how do I do it? You have to, I would say, prioritize yourself. First of all, you have to start carving out that time to prioritize your health. So that's the first thing. The first thing is just having the mindset, knowing why you want to do it. Why do you want to alternate day fast? What are your goals? For me, it was just to get control of my weight, get my confidence and my energy back, get control of my blood pressure. I was on high blood pressure medicines at only 34 years old, pre-diabetic. So I had a strong why. So have that in mind. That's super, super important because it's going to get you through on those days that you start off and you're questioning, is this for me? Can I do it? I'm hungry, and you're thinking about food and you're like, this is a little too extreme. I don't need to do this. So get your strong why, and that's definitely going to pull you through. But straight to the point about having a family, you can do it. What I started doing is getting them on board to help me. So with food preparation, I would cook in batches so that they could have leftovers. So on the days that I'm fasting and I'm not eating, they're able to go in the refrigerator, they're able to pull out food. I even had to go as far as putting up some of the kids' snacks, because those were temptations for me. I hate to admit that, but the cheese crackers, the chips, and I've now since stopped buying them. They eat alternatives and they're okay with that. They're a little older, but I had to hide the snacks. That sounds extreme, but it was something that I needed. So I would put the crackers in the pantry or in the cabinet where I couldn't have easy access. I'd put the bread on the bottom shelf so I wouldn't be going for it. So for me, out of sight, out of mind really helped, especially starting off because, it's a big change incorporating more healthy whole foods. You're eating, lean chicken breast, and maybe your children might not want to have the same thing, but over time, as you shift into the more healthy version of you, you can bring your family along with you, start giving them small tastes of the food that you're eating so that you no longer have to go buy something separately or fix a whole new meal unless they have like a food intolerance. So get the family on board, get them included. If they're old enough, get them helping to get those healthy meals prepped and stored so that they can help themselves on the days that you're fasting. If you have a spouse or a partner, significant other family members in the home, get help from them. That's super, super important. Don't be afraid to let your family know what you're doing if you feel that you're going to get their support, because that can, make or break your fast if you allow it to. So preparation is going to be key, especially when you're busy, when you have a family, children. So get everyone involved if you can, but preparation is definitely going to carry you through. Also, if you're a busy parent or just a busy working professional, taking care of your household, those in your household, make sure that you take the time for yourself. Sometimes that can just mean stepping away for a few minutes into your room, shut the door. I've done this. I'm like, I need some quiet time because stress raises your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone. And I'm sure, as we all know, when you're stressed, you might want to emotionally eat. I used to fall prey to that all the time. And I really think that emotional eating is why I ballooned up to 242 pounds just with the stress of it all. So that can be even more magnified when you have a lot of people, making demands of you, not only at work, but at home. So I would say try to get control of your stress, and that will make fasting with a family a lot more manageable. So step into your room, take some deep breaths, do some things that you like. I like to go outside for a walk. That's very relaxing for me. So carve out a few minutes for yourself every day. So another big question is, can I do alternate day fasting as a woman? Will it mess with my hormones? And to answer your question, yes, you can do alternate day fasting. I've been doing it successfully for going on 5 months now, and I've lost a little bit over 50 pounds and still counting. So it's definitely helped me turn my life around. It didn't stop my cycle. I still have a period. I haven't experienced any negative side effects. Sure, I've had a little bit of hunger along the way. A little bit of doubt crept up when those hunger pains started, but I just stayed the course and I'm reaping all the benefits, not only weight loss, but increased energy, confidence. I sleep better. I'm breathing a lot better. I'm moving more, and I just overall feel a lot healthier, less pain, less inflammation. But I will say that if you have something like a condition that impacts your menstrual cycle, follow up with your provider. But personally, alternate day fasting has helped me with premenstrual symptoms or perimenopause symptoms like hot flashes, irritability, joint pain, moodiness. So it's definitely improved for me, as well as my menstrual symptoms in general, less bloating, less bleeding. And I know I'm probably getting in really deep, but I just want to answer the question. So yes, you can alternate day fast as a woman. And like I said, if you find that maybe the week before your menstrual cycle, you're super, super hungry, you can have up to those 500 calories on your fast days. And if you can't do the 3 days a week, maybe you can do 2. So you just have to listen to your body, work around your menstrual cycle. But I personally do alternate day fasting all month. So it works wonders for me, and it's helped me for the first time in years get control of my health. And I'll be honest, some of it is trial and error. I've tried intermittent fasting that helped when I was in my 20s, that helped me to keep the weight down. But again, I was a lot more active. I had a lot less responsibilities. But now at this stage, I had a lot more weight to lose starting at 242. And that intermittent fasting, I found that in that 8-hour eating window, I was eating just a little bit too much food, and it didn't seem as though I was tapping into all the benefits of autophagy with longer fasting. OMAD was somewhat okay, but I also found it kind of tedious trying to fit everything into the one meal every day, and I would just be, bursting with food. Even if I ate the 1,200 or 1,500 calories in one sitting, that was just a little bit too much for me. And then I was fasting only 23 hours. So I found my sweet spot with the alternate day fasting. So some of it has just been through learning and seeing and taking notes on what works for my body and doing more of that to see how I got the best results. And I landed on alternate day fasting, and many people have had success with it. So as a woman, especially with our menstrual cycles and hormones, you sort of have to try and then listen to your body and see what works for you. But don't assume that alternate day fasting is going to tank your hormones. You really don't know until you try. And for me, it has definitely improved them. It's regulated my menstrual cycle, and it's helped me with PMS and perimenopause symptoms. And in addition to helping with pain, inflammation, and helping me to drop the weight and keep it off. So next question, can I do alternate day fasting while working a 9 to 5? Absolutely. I do it. Many people are doing it. Am I saying it's going to be easy at first? Maybe not, but it can be done. And again, gradually working your way up to that. My biggest recommendation is get your water going. If you can take your big jug, if you have a sedentary job, it might be a little bit easier for you because you're not moving throughout the day as much, but get your water with your electrolytes, your tea, your coffee. Those are some things that I do that help me get through it. If you have a more active job, perhaps you want to fuel up on your feast day. So that day before you fast that you are eating, make sure you get in a nice, good meals with high protein, tons of veggies, some fruit. Just really fuel up on those healthy things, nuts, avocados, and set yourself up for success so the next day you don't feel as hungry. So those are some of the biggest tips there to really fuel up on your feasting days, and make sure you stay hydrated on the days that you're working. But yes, it can be done. I know it might sound impossible at first, but you'll notice that the more you fast, the easier it becomes. You become accustomed to it. You get down a process for yourself. And I actually find that when I'm not having to cook, clean after cooking, and then I'm exhausted because I've, stuffed myself, I find that when I'm fasting, I'm actually a lot more productive. And studies have even shown that fasting improves mental clarity. For me personally, I feel a lot more efficient. I feel lighter. I feel energized. And again, sometimes hunger will peak and I'll have a little thought because we're used to eating. But once that passes, I have a sip of water. Maybe I have a green tea, which curbs the appetite. Maybe I have my water with apple cider vinegar, which also curbs the appetite and has other benefits. I'm ready to go. So I just feel a lot more focused. And then I'm also looking forward to my eating day. That gets me through. But fasting makes me feel a lot more productive, just lighter, freer. I know that I'm going to see results. So it motivates me to keep going. And because I'm not wasting so much food, especially if you're cooking for a family, cooking for a spouse, or just yourself really, because cooking takes time and then you have to clean up after, and not to mention you have to grocery shop for the things. So you're just saving a lot of time. And you're getting a lot of time back for yourself with alternate day fasting. Question of the day, which I'm sure many of you really want to know, like the nitty gritty of it all. How much weight can I lose in a month with alternate day fasting? And it varies, but most people see big results. I'm talking 10 to 15 pounds, and that's huge because usually you're losing anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds a week. So for a lot of people, that's a max of 8 pounds a month. So with alternate day fasting, with you doing nothing else other than just eating every other day, you most likely will see that 10-pound weight loss. Now you start going up to the 15-pound marks. That's just extra. And for me personally, I lost 20 pounds in 1 month. When I tell you, I was shook. I couldn't believe it. So it is possible. It's possible to lose around, an average 10 to 15 pounds. And for those of us like myself who are larger to start, will definitely most likely see increased weight loss, especially if you were like me, you were eating high carb, high junk food, then you're not getting any steps in. You're most likely going to see the biggest results. And I know for like myself, many of us who choose alternate day fasting, we're really at our wits' end. We have a lot of weight to lose. We really need something that can give us that proof right away so that we can stick with it. And that's what ADF did for me. And to add to that, not only will you see the scale move most likely, you'll also notice that maybe your clothes are fitting a lot better. For me, it was my bras. I dropped several bra sizes, several pant sizes. My belly was less firm and bloated. A little bit of, I noticed that my thighs were smaller. My pants were fitting a lot better. And I was able to get into some clothes that I had not worn before. So you'll notice the weight falling off as well as other health benefits. Feeling better, less inflammation, less pain. So one thing I love about alternate day fasting is that it allows the body to heal. So autophagy, we touched on it a little bit before, your body's way of getting rid of debris, old cells, toxins in your bodies the longer that you fast. So I noticed that I had less back pain, less joint pain. I had more energy on top of losing the weight. So alternate day fasting not only is going to help you lose the weight, but heal and help you achieve health and wellness. All right, next, is it safe to exercise while doing ADF? I haven't had any issues with working out while I do ADF, although personally, I keep my strenuous workouts like strength training, body weight exercises, dumbbells at home. I save those strength training workouts for my feast days, but gentle walking, stretching, maybe some calisthenics, anything that's, you're not working yourself up into an extreme sweat, you can do. Walking, I do my walking fasted, and I have had days now that I've built up to it. Let's say I feasted on a Sunday, on Monday, I really want to jump back into it because weekends are a time where maybe I eat a tiny bit more. I'm kind of like having fun with family, and although I'm getting in my steps, maybe I'm a lot more relaxed. I might not do like a workout that day, but coming into Monday, I'm still feeling full because I feasted on Sunday. So I have done a YouTube video workout where I did some like body weight exercises, some squats, some wall sits, some, hip abductor workouts, band workouts, things like that. So to me, that's not like a HIIT training. It's not high intensity. It's something that's manageable. So yes, you can listen to your body. If you feel like you can do it, I say. But just realize that there's a chance if you are fasting, especially when you're new to it, you might want to stick to things like walking, things that don't get you worked up to an intense sweat, or you're not lifting any super heavy weights. But ultimately, everyone's body is different, and you'll see as you practice ADF, you'll get to know what process works for you. But is it inherently dangerous? I don't think so to work out while you're alternate day fasting. I haven't had any negative effects, and I walk my minimum of 10,000 steps on my feast and my fast days. And on my feast days, I'm walking more than 10,000 steps. So you just listen to your body and do what works for you. And another thing is stay hydrated if you're working out, because you're already fasting. And then you couple sweating and losing electrolytes and losing water through your sweat. So definitely make sure that you are rehydrating with water. That would be my biggest suggestion. Another big one, how do I stop overeating or binging on my feast days? Oh my goodness, I feel your pain. Starting off with alternate day fasting, I was so hungry, like I couldn't wait to eat on the feast days. And a couple times I did go over my calories. For me, going over was in the 2100 mark. It was just too much for me. And I noticed that my weight loss would start to slow down. So how did I stop doing that? Well, I have MyFitnessPal. Firstly, it's an app that I use. I connect it here. It integrates with Apple Watch. It's also an app on my phone that you can download from the App Store. And they have both the premium and a free version. And I noticed that I needed to track my calories. That was the first one. How do I stop eating? Well, how do I stop eating if I don't know what I'm eating and I don't know how much I'm eating? So for me, I use MyFitnessPal. One commenter recommended, my carb manager, I believe it was. So there's probably any number of apps that you can track your food intake. I like MyFitnessPal because it allows me to type in what I'm eating. So let's say I eat a boiled egg. I go to my app, I put in boiled egg, and lo and behold, the calories and the protein and the carbs, all the macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fat are all there. Some people even go as far as getting a scale. For me at this point, I've been seeing results without it. I haven't needed to use that, but that could also be beneficial if you really feel that you are like not losing weight on alternate day fasting. Then you gotta see what you're actually putting in on your feast day. So how to stop binging? Plan. I like to prepare meals ahead of time. I might not section it out, but I'll have leftovers and I visualize in my mind, or even sometimes the night before, I'll go put it in MyFitnessPal. Okay, when I wake up for breakfast, I'm going to have 2 boiled eggs. I'm going to have, 3 strawberries. I'm going to have a protein shake with almond milk and chia seeds. And I can literally put that in, and you can always edit it. So however you do it, preparation is key. Another big one for me was knowing that right away I'm going to get up and I'm going to hydrate. That's going to help calm me down, get my body working after sleeping all night from being dehydrated. Because a lot of times we think we're hungry. You drink some water, you have some black coffee, some tea, stretch a little bit, and you realize, oh, I'm not as hungry as I thought. Then I'm going to break my fast with protein. I do about minimum 20 to 30. I prefer 30. I'll have some eggs and then I'll have a protein shake. So I found that when I would break my fast with carbohydrates, even if it were just a lot of fruit, I'd find that I'm hungrier later in the day. So how do I stop binging? Start my day with hydration and protein. Then I can start adding in a little, sprinkling of fruit. For me personally, I stick to the low carb berries, strawberries, raspberries. So those little things like preparation and breaking your fast in the right way are going to stop you from binging. I also practice like a lower carb, maybe under 50 grams. And then when I'm feasting, I'm not overeating. Also, when you're eating on your feast day, give your body a chance to process the food. So, I wake up, hydrate, I get my protein, and then I stop. After I eat my eggs, there have been times I'm like, oh, I've had a lot of water. I've had my eggs. I had a little piece of watermelon or strawberry. I'm actually kind of full right now. I've waited 20 or 30 minutes or even 1 to 2 hours. And I might pack my protein shake to go. So you eat, you pause, you wait, and you see if you're actually hungry or are you eating out of habit. How do I stay motivated during alternate day fasting on a fast day is our next question. And personally, for me, it draws back to the why. And also I walk by the mirror a couple of times. I don't ever want to look like I did before. And most importantly, feel like I did before at my heaviest weight. I was very unhappy. I was very sluggish. I had pain in just about every part of my body. I was on medications for high blood pressure. I wasn't maintaining myself to the standards that I knew I could reach as just a woman. I just didn't feel proud of myself. I knew that I was capable of more, but my body wasn't representing that. My behavior of putting junk in my body was not showing that the person that I am. And so for me, my way to get through alternate day fasting, I'll go look at old photos. On a serious note, just keep your why in mind. You're doing it for better health, for better energy, for longevity. Don't you want to be around in 10 years, in 20 years? Heck, in 5 years. You have goals that you want to accomplish. I know I do. So we all have a reason behind why we're doing ADF. Keep that in mind. Also, again, preparation. You'll stay motivated when you prepare, sometimes it's not all about willpower. It's about how well you set yourself up to succeed when willpower fails, because some days you may not be motivated. It might be hard, but let's say that you've gotten a good night's sleep, you ate healthy and nutrient dense foods the day before, you've made a plan for yourself. I'm going to get up and do X, Y, and Z. And then when I come home, I'm going to do this, and I'm hydrating throughout the day. You will be surprised what you can accomplish. So motivation wise, keep your why in mind. For me personally, I want to be alive. I don't want to be a casualty like many people in my family who lost their lives to complications from diabetes, stroke, hypertension, being on dialysis and all these things, needing stent placement at young ages. And I just don't see that for myself. I want to be here for my children and heck, for myself. I have things I'm here on this earth to do. So keep your why in mind. And it doesn't hurt to look in the mirror every now and then. You want to have the person that you want to be reflected back at you. So you'll find your source, and that will get you through. All right, last question, you guys. I messed up on my fast day and ate. Do I have to start all over? No, you don't. You don't. No one is perfect. I say if you ended up eating, even if you went over that 500 calories, if you stick to the pattern, just go ahead, try to bring it back home. Maybe if you're not eating junk food or whatnot, stick with the healthy foods. If you're able to the next day and it's an eating day, so let's say you were supposed to fast Monday, but you ended up eating, then if you can, balance out your calories the next day. So like, let's say instead of 500, you had 1,300 or 1,700 calories. Then maybe the next day you could lower it to your 1,400 calories or so. So just go ahead and continue eating as normal so that you don't get thrown off your pattern, but try to, if you can, balance out the calories. And just get back on it the next day. I've had starting off days like that, and I told myself this time around, I'm not going to have a defeatist mentality. Nobody is perfect. And just because I messed up one day, or just because I didn't feel well or motivated and I didn't work out one day, doesn't mean that I just throw in the towel and all of a sudden it's a green pass to just eat whatever I want and just give up. ADF's not working. I can't do it. It's the mentality here where it's going to start. So even if you fall off one day, is one day really going to trump a month of progress, 2 months of progress, 3 and 4 and 5 months of progress? No. So as I always say, be kind to yourself, and one day does not ruin it all. Whew, all right, that was a lot. So hopefully I answered some of your top questions. And if you have any more, drop them in the comments, or better yet, join our Fast Life channel Facebook group. The links will be in the description, and that's where you're going to have your chance to dive even deeper. Post your questions so that they're open to everyone in the group who can chime in respectfully, kindly, and keep you motivated, keep you informed. You can also share your fasting stories or struggles or wins. It's really your place where you can deep dive all in and connect with other alternate day fasters and other fasters in general who are committed to losing weight and getting healthy with fasting. And also, for more insider tips and info and motivation, subscribe to the weekly newsletter, and both links will be in the description box. If you gained some value from today's video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I come out with a new video. Okay, fasting fam, until next time, bye.